Hey, Sakai here. Today I've got a Buck 110, but it's a little bit different than other Buck 110s. Now I got a little story to tell before I get into the knife. I got this knife at the Buck factory. Uh, my son and I were driving back from Seattle. He was moving down here, and we were in U-Haul truck, and we stopped in Post Falls at the Buck factory. It was on the way, the route we were taking, and we got there, went upstairs in the store. They're remodeling there, so the store was kind of small area, but you could look out the window and see the factory, which was kind of cool. Anyway, I was talking to the lady, asking if they had any discounts. And this is in March of 2024 that we were there. And they told us that if we had a military ID, we could get 50% off the MSRP. My son and I both, what? I was mainly going to get a Buck 124. When she told me that, about the 50% off, I ended up getting a couple other knives for about the same price as the 124. So this was one of them. This is one of the Buck 110s I wanted to get, and show you the difference here. This is a drop point Buck 110. Go over the specs real quick on this. The handle is 4.89 inches. That comes out to 124.3 millimeters. The blade is 3.65 inches, which comes out to 92.8 millimeters. Open, it is 8.54 inches, and that is 217.1 millimeters. Weighs in at 7.3 ounces. That's 206 grams. Now the handle is ebony, and since I want to say around 2019, 2017, somewhere around there, they started using ebony again. They were using ebony from 1964 when they first made the knives until 1980. They were using what they call Madagascar ebony. Due to over harvesting, they had to stop using it due to import restrictions and whatnot. And then they were able to make a deal with Gibson Guitars, who had made arrangements to grow ebony specially for them, ebony trees, and sustainable growth. So now they're able to buy small amounts of ebony, and they've got it on the 110, the 112, and one or two other knives. But just to show you the difference, this is the Madagascar ebony here, and this knife is my original Buck 110. I got this in 1973, and just to compare the two knives to each other, well, you can see this has been used quite a bit with the patina and everything, but has the clip point blade. I've got a couple other Bucks, but this is my favorite one. Like I said, it has a drop point blade. I had the option of buying the one that was S30V steel. This is 420 steel, but it had the nickel silver bolsters, and I just didn't care for those. I prefer the brass. As you can see here, It's got the brass liners. Well, basically the whole handle is brass, and then you have the stainless steel back spring and spacer here on the back. This is a hefty knife. Now the sheath this came with was leather. There for a while they were doing the nylon sheaths. They weren't a big hit, but now they're doing back to the leather sheaths. Now I got this knife. I also ended up getting me another, I already had one, buck 55. I'll put the link in the description down below on my when I talked about my original buck 55. And for those who don't know, the buck 55 is half the size of the original buck 110. That's why it's the buck 55. But this is, I got in like 2002, I believe, this knife, and I've been using it off and on. This is the laminated wood that they were using instead of the ebony, and you can compare the two there, the differences in the what they were using from 1980 to about 2017, 2019. So now they have the ebony, which I think just makes the knife much cooler. So my review of the 55, I'll put a link in the description down there. But I wanted to get the drop point. I just thought it was a neat looking knife, and in some cases you want a little bit, you prefer the drop point versus the clip point on a knife blade. Now while I was there, I also got the mat here for the 110, showing how the knife comes apart and so on. I just thought that was rather cool. And like I said, in March of 2024, they had the deal that if you had a military ID, you show that, you get 50% off. So if you see this in the future, I don't know if they still will have that, how much longer they'll have that, but it's rather cool. I really like this. Saw it, grabbed it, especially since I was getting such a good deal on it. Got those 3 knives plus a couple other little pocket knives. But this one is going to start being carried, and we'll see how it works. If you have any questions or comments about the buck 110 drop point, please leave them below. And remember, always be prepared.